This province in the north of Mozambique, Cabo, is currently facing something very similar to what's happening in Gaza, in Israel. Cabo is very rich in gas. It also has ivory, it has coal, it has titanium, to name a few. Over 1.3 million citizens have been displaced. Billions were invested in Mozambique after this discovery in 2010. And then Wabasangena American companies, the French company Total, and another company from Italy, the three of them, they go in, they're in Pemba, quickly, now there are unrest within the region. Guys, ever notice how each and every region in Africa that has natural resources where the Westerners are interested in, there's always an unrest, number one. There's always these terrorist groups, secondly, and they're always children-led. Who's funding them? Who's funding them? Because in Mozambique right now, they call the Al-Shabaabs. But in Somalia, they also are Al-Shabaab. I mean, you can't tell me that it's one organization that is moving all across down Africa. Even in Nigeria, there's a similar a group, and they're even calling it ISIS at this point. But who's funding them? And why is it that it's the same recipe every single time? Clearly, there's a natural gas that is found, they come in, and then there are these unrests, and then they bring in the aid as well. There's no way one of the poorest provinces in Mozambique, out of the blue, now can finance an entire terrorist army. Do you understand? Where do they get the muscle from? Where do they get all of these resources from? But fast forward now, because there's such an unrest, the EU is the one that is now funding Rwanda to come and bring troops to Mozambique to come and try and salvage whatever is happening there. Icon. And again, this is the same thing that happens in Somalia. It's the same thing that's happening with the M23 in Congo. It's the same thing that is happening in Mali. Everywhere you go where there are natural resources and the West is interested in those natural resources, best believe me, and the recipe is one. I think that's why I am so taken aback, and I want to emphasize on the fact that we are experiencing a similar thing that is created by the same people to do the same thing to all of us. Like I said before, it's happening in Israel, it's happening in Mozambique, and it's not spoken about. Rwanda, for such a small country with such a small population in comparison to Congo and Mozambique, is quite busy. I think we should keep an eye on Rwanda because something's got to give, and they keep collecting from IMF, they keep collecting from the EU, they keep collecting from Africa.